Good evening. Welcome to Election Night in America 2018. Tonight we have Senator Chuck Schumer from this great state of New York representing the minority party, the Democrats, versus the majority party, the Republicans, with Senator Mitch McConnell, the majority leader from the great state of Kentucky. We start off with our first poll closings of the night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time from the states of Virginia and Vermont. Let's go ahead and look at our first projection. The state of Virginia, Tim Kaine is the projected winner. Keep in mind he was the Democratic vice presidential nominee back in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. Another contender in 2016, Senator Bernie Sanders, one of the most popular senators in the United States of America. Bernie Sanders wins another 6-year term as an independent who caucuses with the Democratic Party. Adding to the numbers, we have a close Senate race here out of the state of Indiana, currently too close to call. Joe Donnelly leads his businessman opponent on the Republican side, Mike Braun. Right now, this is going to be one of our more hotly contested races. Looking at our map, we have 25 Democrats and 42 Republicans. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 7:30 p.m. poll closings from two states again, the states of Ohio and West Virginia. Our first projection from the states, the state of West Virginia, actually we're projecting is too close to call, but we do have a projection right after this. Joe Manchin leads the current Attorney General of West Virginia, Patrick Morrisey, by 1%. But here is our projection. The state of Ohio, Sherrod Brown defeats his Republican opponent. Sherrod Brown wins another 6-year term in the United States Senate from the state of Ohio. Looking at our current composition, we have 26 Democrats and 42 Republicans. It is now time for our 8 p.m. poll closings from a number of states across everywhere in the United States, ranging from the Northeast going over to areas in the South. We have our first call from this area. The state of Maryland, right now, Ben Cardin is the projected winner on the Democratic side. Another 6-year term for him, another projection for the Democrats. The state of Rhode Island, Sheldon Whitehouse wins another 6-year term. Then we go ahead and take a look at the state of Connecticut. Chris Murphy, one of the top contenders possibly for the 2020 presidential election on the Democratic side, he wins another 6-year term in the United States Senate. Another Democratic victory out of the state of Delaware. Tom Carper wins again another 6-year term. He has been re-elected senator from Delaware. Massachusetts, Senator Elizabeth Warren, another top name for the 2020 presidential election. Elizabeth Warren wins the Senate race here in the state of Massachusetts. Let's go ahead and take a look at another call. The state of Maine, an independent who caucuses with the Democrats like Bernie Sanders. Angus King, an independent, wins re-election for another 6-year term from the state of Maine. Right now, Pennsylvania, keep in mind Donald Trump won this state back in 2016, now landing in Bob Casey's column. He is the current incumbent Democratic senator. This is a race that he is going to win. The state of Mississippi, right now, our first Republican projection of tonight. The appointed Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, she was appointed by the incumbent governor from the state of Mississippi. The special election here goes to the Republican Party as expected. Another call out of the same state, the state of Mississippi. Right now, we can project that Roger Wicker wins another 6-year term in the United States Senate from the state of Mississippi, the second call of tonight for the Republican Party. But like always, we have two close to call states. The state of New Jersey, which is pretty interesting considering that this is reliably a Democratic state in almost every election season. Bob Menendez currently leads his Republican opponent, Bob Bugan, but closer than expected. Another two close to call state, the state of Tennessee. Phil Bredesen leads Marsha Blackburn by 2%. Keep in mind, this is retiring incumbent Republican Senator Bob Corker's seat. Right now, a Democrat is leading in solid red Tennessee. Keep that in mind. We go over to the state of Florida. Right now, it is too close to call. The incumbent GOP governor, Rick Scott, is currently leading the incumbent Democratic Senator Bill Nelson from the state of Florida by 4%. Missouri, another hotly contested Senate race here. Claire McCaskill getting extremely lucky yet again with her Republican opponent, Josh Hawley, but she is currently leading him by 6%, 53 to 47%. Looking at our current composition, the Democrats are now going up in numbers, 34 Democrats and 44 Republicans. The Republicans, keep in mind, are 6 away from retaining the majority. It is now time for our 9 p.m. poll closings. Again, up across the United States, mainly around areas of the Midwest and up across the Red Wall. Let's look at our first projection. The state of Wisconsin, another state that Donald Trump had carried back in 2016. Tammy Baldwin is the projected winner out of the Wisconsin Senate race here for another 6-year term. Keep in mind her approval rating is around 39%, and she still won re-election. The state of Michigan, Debbie Stabenow wins re-election. Wasn't really that hotly contested of a race, but this is another state that Donald Trump had carried back in 2016. Minnesota, one of the more popular Democratic senators in the United States, Amy Klobuchar wins re-election in the United States Senate from the state of Minnesota. In the same state, we have a special election here. Tina Smith, the former lieutenant governor from the state of Minnesota, goes on to win the special Senate race here, replacing Al Franken in the United States Senate. The state of New Mexico, Martin Heinrich wins re-election here. He was re-elected back in 2012, goes on for another 6-year term in the United States Senate. No big surprise, New Mexico is typically a Democratic state. The state of New York, another not really big of a surprise, but Kirsten Gillibrand wins re-election here. She is a #1 top name for the 2020 presidential election, as well as many of these candidates are. Another Republican projection, Nebraska, Deb Fischer wins another 6-year term at the United States Senate race here. Right now, she will go on again for another 6-year term. Another Republican call we are about to make. The state of Wyoming with John Barrasso, he wins re-election for another 6-year term in the United States Senate, the most conservative state in the United States of America as of today. And then we go ahead and take a look at our states that are currently too close to call. Another state with a Republican incumbent. Kirsten Sinema is currently leading Martha McSally by around 2,000 votes in the Arizona Senate race here. Very hotly contested Senate race. Right now, 50-50 for both candidates. The state of Texas, not really that close. Right now, Ted Cruz is leading his Democratic opponent, Beto O'Rourke, by 8%. But again, at the end of the night, most people do expect Ted Cruz to win this Senate race here, as it is the state of Texas. But again, tonight can show that most states can become too close. The state of North Dakota, a state that Donald Trump carried by double digits back in 2016, currently too close to call between the sole representative on the Republican side and incumbent Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp, who is currently leading her Republican opponent 50-49. Looking at our current composition, we have 39 Democratic seats and 46 Republican seats. It is now time for our 10 p.m. poll closings from the states of Nevada, Utah, and Montana. Let's go ahead and take a look at our projection right now. The state of Montana, John Tester is the projected winner out of the Senate race here, winning another 6-year term in the United States Senate. Can't say that this wasn't expected, considering the GOP opponent, Matt Rosendale, wasn't doing too well when it came down to opinion polling. The state of Utah, as expected, Mitt Romney. Keep in mind, this was the 2012 Republican nominee for president who lost to President Barack Obama. Right now goes on to win the Utah Senate race, replacing retiring Senator Orrin Hatch. And then we have a race that is currently too close to call. Actually, we're going to make a projection, and then we'll go over the too close to call state. The state of Texas, Ted Cruz, as I said before, was expected to carry this by the end of the night. Not that big of a surprise, just another Republican call. And now we will go ahead and take a look at our state that is too close to call. The state of Nevada, Dean Heller is actually the Republican incumbent. Is actually leading Jackie Rosen by a considerable amount, but right now there are a number of Democratic precincts not reporting at this time, which explains this lead. Right now we have 40 Democrats and 48 Republicans. Keep in mind the magic number for the Republicans is 50, and the magic number for Democrats is 51. That means that the Republicans are 2 Senate races away from the majority. And now we have an LTE News state projection. We look at the state of New Jersey. Bob Menendez wins re-election here. Much closer than expected, but you can expect that he would not do as well as other Democratic challengers or Democratic incumbents because of his whole corruption scandal, but he still goes on to win another 6-year term from the state of New Jersey. West Virginia, this is one of the more toss-up or closer states. Joe Manchin wins the Democratic Senate race here. Of course, for the Democrats, he is a more of a conservative Democrat, which explains his win in a state like West Virginia. But here is a big call for the GOP. Florida, the Senate race here now flipping from the Democratic side from Senator Bill Nelson. Rick Scott actually winning by a considerable amount compared to previous Republicans against Bill Nelson. Rick Scott goes on to win the Florida Senate race here for his first term in the United States Senate. Pretty considerable for the GOP to make a gain, especially in a close swing state like the state of Florida. And then we look at our current composition. Right now, the Republicans have a net gain of 1, putting them at 49 seats, and the Democrats at 42. It is now time for our 11 p.m. poll closings, right now from the states of Washington, California, and Hawaii. Right now, we have our first projection from the state of California. Right now we can project that Dianne Feinstein will go on to win another 6-year term. Keep in mind that the California Senate race here only had 2 Democrats on the ballot. So regardless of how this turned out, it would have been a Democratic victory. Dianne Feinstein wins re-election for another 6-year term, even though she wasn't endorsed by the California Democratic Party. In the state of Washington, Maria Camo wins re-election in the Senate race here. Can't say that wasn't expected either. We go over to another Democratic state, the state of Hawaii. Mazie Hirono wins another 6-year term. Again, not that different than what you might expect, considering how Democratic of a state the state of Hawaii currently is. No firm opposition against her. Here is a big one for the Democrats. Claire McCaskill wins re-election out of the state of Missouri. Keep in mind, this is a state that the GOP thought they had in the bag a while ago, and then all of a sudden leading up into the election season, the polls got a lot tighter, and Claire McCaskill goes on to win another 6-year term from the state of Missouri, one of the more Republican states that we have up tonight. The state of Arizona, this is a big flip in the favor of the Democrats. Kyrsten Sinema wins the Senate race here, defeating Martha McSally for the Republican seat, now going to the Democrats, having one Democrat from the state of Arizona. Arizona Senate race goes to Sinema, a flip from red to blue, now tying the map when it comes down to gains for either political party. So 1 gain for the Democrats, 1 gain for the Republicans, net 0 gain for either political party. 47 Democrats and 49 Republicans, with a total of 4 races left to call. We have a major projection to make right now. The state of Nevada, Jackie Rosen is the projected winner, flipping this Senate race from red to blue, defeating the very unpopular incumbent Republican Senator Dean Hellard. Jackie Rosen wins here, but this is not the call we needed to make. The state of Indiana, Mike Braun defeats incumbent Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly in the Indiana Senate race here. An outsider businessman goes on to win. Same story about President Trump we heard back in 2016, which means we can project that the Republican Party will retain control of the United States Senate. They will go on, looking at our current composition map, they will go on to have the majority in the United States Senate come 2019 and retain it as they have it right now. We have 48 Democrats and 50 Republicans, which means that the Republicans have enough to have that tiebreaker vote with Vice President Mike Pence. We have some state projections right now to make as well, finishing off our map. The state of Tennessee, Phil Bredesen is the projected winner, flipping the Senate race here from red to blue, defeating Marsha Blackburn in the Senate race here. Right now, Phil Bredesen, the former Democratic governor who won every single county in his re-election bid back in 2006, winning in another Democratic wave year. But in the state of North Dakota, we have a flip from blue to red. Kevin CRAMER defeats incumbent Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp in the United States Senate race here. He is the sole representative for the state of North Dakota and goes on to win in the Senate race there. Can't say it wasn't too unexpected. So right now we have 49 Democrats and 51 Republicans, same exact composition we have right now. Thank you guys for watching this video. This video was a little bit different considering there were moving backgrounds compared to, I guess, other election nights where there weren't. I'm probably not going to do this in the future. I just wanted to test it out. If you guys liked it, I definitely could refine it a little bit better. Keep in mind, this is my first time doing it out of hundreds of election nights I've done before. So if you want me to keep doing it, then I will. But I had to cut this into 3 parts because it took a while to record, more than a normal election night really should. But overall, yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I will see you all tomorrow.